Have you ever looked in the mirror and barely been able to recognize the person staring you back, or suddenly had the realization that your life is nothing like you thought it would be or would have wanted it to be? I think so many of us can't even remember a time when we actually felt happy or inspired because our life has been on repeat for so long. We just kind of wake up and go through the motions at work and at home. And at the end of the day, we just kind of mindlessly scroll on our phone because it's the only thing we feel like we have the energy to do, especially with all of these incredibly upsetting and exhausting things happening all around us. I think so many of us feel like there's just no real sense of joy anymore, like life is just completely unfulfilling, exhausting, and overwhelming. It's like we've all fallen down this giant rabbit hole and have no idea how to climb out. We're just all kind of existing instead of truly living, and we've completely mentally checked out. But if this sounds like the situation that you're in right now, I want you to know that you are definitely not alone in your experience, and that it is absolutely never too late to turn our train around and get back on track and actually start enjoying our life. And there really are 3 things we can do that can help us feel better immediately. And honestly, even just doing one of these things can make a big difference. But if we do all 3 of these things, we can really change our entire life. Now, I'm going to assume here that you've probably already mentally done some kind of life audit where you've thought about all the things that are making you miserable and considered if you could cut anything out or make any changes or improvements. And if you haven't done that, I would definitely start there, because sometimes when we get caught in this exhausting loop, we overlook even obvious things that could make us feel better, like getting more sleep or spending less time with toxic people. And we definitely don't want to make reckless changes here, but we do want to be aware and make any improvements that we can. But that is actually not what I want to focus on today, because I know for many of us, there may not be a lot of things that we can cut out or change or transform right now, at least not in the immediate future. But there are still things that we can do, which is what I want to talk about. But I have to give the disclaimer that these may be things that we don't feel like doing right now or feel like we have the energy for because of the overwhelmed state we are in. But I have to have you trust me in that these are things that are essential for us to do if we want to start feeling better about life. And I promise you 100% if we actually do these things, we will have life passion again. Now, the technical term for the first thing is behavioral activation, but it's actually a really simple concept. It's just about gradually reintroducing activities that used to bring us joy, even really small things. We need to reconnect with things that make us feel alive, and maybe it's been so long that we can't even remember what those things are. But we've got to break the cycle of apathy and exhaustion, and this is one of the quickest ways that we can do this, because it does 3 huge things for us at once. It increases our happiness and well-being. It improves our mental health by reducing stress, negative thoughts, and emotions. And it brings meaning and purpose back to our life. We need to start to remember that our life is more than just work and obligations. We've got to have at least one thing in our life that is just for us, that actually brings us joy. Not just distracts us, but actually brings us joy. This is non-negotiable. But when I tell people this, usually the first thing is an argument about not having the time or energy. And I think we can genuinely feel like that is the case. But if we have at least 10 minutes a day to mindlessly scroll on social media or doing whatever other unfulfilling thing that we habitually do, then we do have the time, and it can be absolutely anything. Now, for me, it's always been playing guitar, but for you, it may be something completely different, like baking or spending time in nature or yoga or sewing or painting or even just cozying up with your favorite book. It really doesn't matter what it is as long as it makes you happy and that you are doing it just for you. And even just small doses of these activities can make a dramatic difference, because it reminds us that life isn't all miserable and that we do have a degree of control over our lives. Now, the second thing we can do is exercise. And yes, I know it's probably the last thing that you want to hear, but it works. Of course, we have the immediate mental and physical health benefits and the increase in dopamine, but it also reliably begins to give us the motivation to re-engage in activities that we used to enjoy. I've seen this happen over and over, and I don't know exactly why these things are connected, but they definitely are. And we don't have to pick something that we're going to dread or feel like we have to force ourselves to do. We can pick something fun like hula hooping or taking a walk on a nature trail. Just getting our body moving again can change everything. And believe it or not, there is growing research that shows that exercise can be as effective as antidepressants for some people. Not in the cases of severe depression, but even in those cases, when exercise is combined with other approaches, it can be enormously beneficial. So again, it may not be something that we feel like doing, but it does work. And lastly, social support is a huge game changer. So often when we're going through this, we start to isolate ourselves, and it may not even be intentional. We may not even realize that we're doing this, but we can lose touch with our friends and even our family, and we can start to feel like we are alone in this world. But the second we have that realization, it's something that we need to start doing something about immediately. And even if we feel that in reality we don't have a lot of strong connections that we could just rekindle, we still have a lot of options. We could simply make it a point to strike up more conversations with the people that we see on a day-to-day basis, even if it's just at the grocery store or just at work or at a coffee shop. We can also start making it a priority for us to go to more social engagements or just to simply get out of the house if we're not even doing that. This is more important than we could ever possibly realize. We have to feel like we are part of society if we actually want to be happy. We cannot just continuously isolate ourselves. And if we do actually have people in our life that we've just kind of lost touch with, reach out and start to reconnect with them. Maybe ask them to grab lunch or to go to some kind of local event. As much as we want to resist them when we are feeling overwhelmed, our social connections really do provide us with a sense of fun and purpose in our life. So they are definitely worth our time. And unfortunately, our society is just becoming more and more disconnected. So it's something that we have to put more and more effort into. But again, it's something that is going to make us happier. I just want you to know that if you've been going through this, and I know so many people really have been going through this for years, that not only are you not alone, but there is hope. And making changes in these 3 areas really can change everything, and very quickly. You deserve to actually enjoy your life, and no one can live in survival mode 24/7, which is what we've all been trying to do. So I truly hope that you found this video helpful, and I'm going to go ahead and link down a few more videos in the description box that you may also find beneficial. As always, I would love to hear your thoughts and experiences, so please leave them in the comments. I want to thank you so much for watching today, and I hope the rest of your day is extraordinary.